we have gotten to that point where, and that is what is scary for me. It doesn't. I have seen the worst that can happen in the past. I'm saying that where we are going, Kunle, this is really deep, because it just means that it's going to get bad. If we continue at this trajectory, there's no end in sight to how vicious it will become with the money game in playing this politics in Nigeria. It's only going to get worse. So where do we even come out? How do we start to come out of this mess that we have gotten ourselves into?
Okay, first, before I go into the solutions, I'll first like to reiterate something. So a lot of people like to say the middle class won't ask for money, but the middle class does, and I'll give you an example. The moment, like now, let me even use a basic example of what's happening. So now, Waze has invited me to a show. I'm speaking here freely. The moment I declare I'm running for office, and this is not to Waze directly, I'm just using an example because I don't want to call another show. So the moment I've declared I'm running for office, Waze will charge me. Now, this is not to Waze. I need to repeat this. Waze will charge me 1 million naira to be on the show. It happens with blogs. Blogs that used to carry stuff. And the moment you declare you're running for office, it costs so amount. Everything is a price difference at this thing. Middle class for me is the direct recipient of corruption in Nigeria. And that's the honest truth. We choose not to accept it. Yes, they do not accept 1,000 for a vote. But preceding that vote occurring, middle class is at every step making politics as expensive as it is in Nigeria. Now let's look at solutions, and I think this is where, first, I think the problem we refuse to accept is no matter how educated we are, I've stated 95% of Nigeria's entire population is politically illiterate. It's bad to the fact we do not understand local government, which is why we have less than an 8% of voting population participation in the local government election. Our political illiteracy goes as much as not knowing what the flags behind the president represent. I remember there was an ongoing argument one time when the flag was noticed, which represents the armed forces. And people were saying it's a Cuban flag, or I don't know, they came up with so many things. Anyway, let's go back to the point. So political illiteracy is a very, very big thing. The second thing that I think we have a massive problem with is that we're not part of the actual election process. So the entire Nigeria allows, so I'll give you an average party for a presidential primaries right now will have about 7,000 or 8,000 delegates. We're not part of the party. We're not concerned with the system. We don't join political parties. Now, not everybody is supposed to, but a reasonable number. We're 200 million. A reasonable number of us to be part of this. And if we are part of political parties, we now will be able to change the narrative which we have in Nigeria. I don't believe, and this is not to say, I don't believe we have an election in Nigeria. What we actually have is a selection. And here's why. So 7,000 people choose who the rest of 200 million of us are going to be, 120 million of us are going to be voting for or not voting for. And these delegates, we refuse to be part of it. So you hear some people saying, okay, let me use present time an example. People say, oh, I want Peter Obi to emerge from the PDP. Guy, it's not going to emerge. Or girl, it's not going to emerge. You want to know why? You're not a delegate. You are not going to be able to allow him ascend and become a candidate of a political party. Because all you're in love with, or you understand, is you're not part of the process. So till they bring out whoever, Mr. A and Mr. B, and say these are your candidates, then you can vote. That's the only time Nigerians have a decision to make. But those decisions are predetermined by delegates. So as long as we do not participate fully in political parties, we're going to continue to have this quagmire going up and down. A lot of us need to go into political parties, become part of the system, work within the system, understand how it works, and then try to move forward.
Okay.
Another solution I think I'll be looking at clearly is that we need to stop thinking that America, France, Ghana, Rwanda is Nigeria. We're complex with our own complex problems, so our own solutions must be internal. Now, I think one of the key solutions is even understanding the Constitution. Now, there's this thought process that in Nigeria, the Constitution belongs to lawyers. And lawyers help sell that because lawyers too believe that the Constitution is their birthright. Meanwhile, the average lawyer, well, let me not go into that. But The truth is that the Constitution is actually the holy book of being a citizen. If you do not read it and you're not concerned about it, then you can't call yourself Nigerian. It's that bad. It's more important than having a passport to Jakarta, because the passport only has to do with external stuff, and you need to understand the way the Constitution works so that you can begin to have serious engagement. I always ring this a lot. You cannot engage a system you do not understand. So most of the time, we find ourselves discussing politics, discussing what is going to happen from a totally blind sight. I'll tell you the average thing. Most people say, local government chairman, I have access to the chairman, but it seems that the federal is not giving money. The federal gives money, check. The federal gives money always. You don't know. And somewhere along the line, they'll say, state governors are collecting. If state governors are collecting, then sue the local government chairman. He has no immunity, or you don't know that. When you sue him and he goes to jail, next time you give him, or next time another one is giving money, you won't give it out. So you need to understand the Constitution and how it works. And everybody just wants to say, Lord Lugard. I always laugh when I hear Lord Lugard talk from Nigerians. Well, when you were having parties with First Act 1977 when the oil boom was great, and we're paying people 3 times their salary, Lord Lugard was not the problem. And now Lord Lugard is your problem. You can't selectively choose what is the problem or not. And I think another system is we need to understand that we are Nigerian first before anything else. But most people are drunk in thinking they're from one tribe or they're this or they're that, and that's affected our decision making. I want my brother there. Okay, when your brother was there, what development was brought to your constituency? Nothing. You're just high on, and this is drug high, if I'm allowed to say that. This is drug high on the fact that someone from my local government or from my clan or community or ward is in power.
Okay, Kunle, we need to just take a very quick break, right? When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
We do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Thanks for staying with us now. If you just tuned in, we are discussing the politics of money and its impact on good governance with Kunle Lawal. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow Africa1 with the hashtag Wayshow. All right, so Mani, you had a question for Kunle.
Yes, I do. So, Kunle, we're talking about the politics of money. So right now, what we see is that the politics of money is the politics of exclusion. So how would an individual who, really wants to serve, how would he play in this game without money?
Well, maybe I found myself caught within those lines, so I'll attempt to answer from how maybe I approached it. So you already have, there's always opportunity in chaos. So everybody throws money and nothing else. So in my time while running in 2019, I was able to propose 49 bills during the campaign year, which is higher than, of course, any legislator in Nigeria. I adapted, of course, systems to break, a lot of TV interviews that, of course, didn't cost the campaign, but helped me decipher what, since I was running the FCT, what the FCT could be at Abuja, what Abuja could be as a place, and just pick up everything that everybody else is not doing. That's the only way to work, and then you maybe hope for the best. So, of course, obviously, I'm not a senator, but I had a race that's enviable by a lot of aspirants and candidates till today. And that was how I was able to walk through it without having the kind of funds that are ill-gotten or, as the game goes.
So, Kunle, I was going to ask you, what would be a legal approach to eradicating money from politics, right? Because I know that, there's supposed to be certain kinds of amount of money that should not be exceeded, even when you're running for your campaigns and all those things put together. There's a standard that, there's a benchmark that INEC has given that should not be exceeded. But we see that most of these political parties, they over exceed self, by hundreds and thousands of percentage, right? So what would be a legal approach if we want to take out money from the political game in Nigeria and just focus on the politics itself and find a way, because I believe that if money is excluded from this transaction, then we might have some ray of hope for good governance, because it means that it's no longer about money, it's about people that are ready to work. That's when you now start seeing the right people coming into the game to really play the game, because they understand that I am here to do the work and not because my money brought me here. So how do we legally approach this?
Well, there always will be money in politics. Let's not lie about it. Let's just be honest. There always be money in politics. It's the way politics is built. Now, is it supposed to dictate the way politics runs? No. Earlier, I told you the limits by INEC. So, has anybody tried to test the law? Has anybody tried to sue a particular person? Okay, somebody gives 100 cars. Those 100 cars cost so. I'm suing this aspirant based on the fact he has infringed on the financial limits placed by INEC. Nobody does that. And then you're wondering how you're going to eradicate it. So sometimes, when the NBA says an NGO and it's doing stuff, I wonder what the NBA is doing. Anyway, no offense, but that's what I think. And nobody has tried to, push the laws. Okay, you can wait and say, okay, you know what? The other candidate, I was second, but the other candidate, he gave out some amount of money infringing on this particular part of the Electoral Act, which states that the money, the limit for our spending while running for office is this. And nobody has tested it, but yet you won't stop money in politics. How does that work? I think we really love money in politics, that's the truth. I think we're also enticed by it.
Funny, you have a comment. Kunle Lawal, this matter is serious, you.
Okay, your guest has said it all. Poverty of ideology, that's the bend. My heart bleeds when I see people who are expected to know better, guilty, not asking questions on pedigree of aspirants. Yes, his manifesto. Remember the mindset issue you treated some time ago? Do you mean there are no poor people in the US, yet we celebrate mediocrity? It's an infant flouting money on the Nigerian electorate.
It's an insult.
It's an insult, sorry. It's an insult, flouting money on the Nigerian electorate, and which I really agree with him. It shouldn't be about money. We're talking about service here. But right now...
Let me state something.
Okay.
In Nigeria, is flouting money a problem?
It's not.
It has never been a problem.
Okay, so you remove the culture of flouting money from people. Flouting money in politics, really. We need to understand that these things are related. So flouting money is in our culture. To run for governor in the US, the form for Texas is $5,000. That's about, it's not much. But you even have an option to pay or not. If you say my income does not mean I can pay for a form,
can
it means
still go.
you cannot be denied because they understand your right as an individual to run for office. Nigeria is not yet there. We're I don't like comparing most of the time, but we're not yet there. We have a culture that is embedded on corruption. It is our lifestyle. So what do you think? Politics will exclude itself, and then our culture of throwing money at weddings and throwing money at anything we feel like throwing money. When last did anybody recognize someone that was doing something for who he was and the person didn't have cash? I think that's what we need to ask ourselves.
So I want to take you, Kunle, to the quote that we quoted for today by Richard Salzman. It says the only way to get money out of politics is to get politics out of money making, right? Do you agree with that? And if you do, can we make politics less lucrative for people? Is it possible?
Let me explain. Money in politics thrives because the people are placed in a position where they will need money. So they guarantee that this circle of politics continues as is, which is from that quote states. Now, if you want politics money out of politics, the simplest way to do it is to create an economy that thrives and works for all, demands good governance, raises the bar, builds a culture that we are able to see beyond the money. And then at that point, we can now take money out of politics. But if Nigeria remains as is, with all the Dorime actions happening in Lagos, no, money is going to remain.
Nari Dorime. Good evening, my beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #ways. The politics of money and its impact on good governance. This is an important topic. You cannot remove politics from money and vice versa. To me, if money is removed in politics, there will definitely be good governance. But in Nigeria, it is not the case because people love it like that. Sister, I can feel your pain. You are healed in Jesus' name. Amen. My dear beautiful sister Money, you are looking lovely and beautiful today. Thank you, Daniel Elo. We's regular fan.
Thank you, Daniel.
So, Kunle, as we try to wrap this conversation, because it's something that, can we, okay, so for instance, let's take the reason we even started to discuss this topic in the first place, Senator Adeleke, and his boldness to come out at a campaign rally to say, because I asked you about the legal approach, you talked about, have we called up, questioned anybody, have we written, like saying we're suing someone and all of that, but he has come out now to say that he did not only bring, now it's even interesting because even the electorate, they understand that our naira is not valuable anymore. So he has told you that I did not come only with naira, I came with dollars, I came with pounds, and I came with euros, right? So there is money. And he says this boldly at a campaign rally, right? So are you trying to tell me, Kunle, that this cannot be used as something to what's it called? Probably stop his political fight for the governorship of that state? Is not possible to use that?
Well, it is possible, but remember the Oliver Twist in the judiciary who are going to toss that case from a lower court and take it up to the Supreme Court. Now, no offense, but we know how it's going to go. It's going to be bought out. So there are lots of things. We, the people, have to really stand up and make a statement of these things. If somebody flouts that money, I'd like to see a local government say, we're not voting for this party in this local government in the next election because of that deed being done. But that sounds very good to the ears. But I know something about Nigerians. We're kind of, we're kind of gluttony. It's like, how can there be politics without money in Nigeria? It's like going to a party without small chops. That's what we think.
Is it even without much, without that gun spraying of money and all of that? I mean, when you said that, it really hit home because there's technically nothing you do right now in Nigeria that if money is not involved, you're not important. They don't even take you seriously. So it's a
Yeah.
culture that has eaten. So it's a culture of money that we have, right? So can we approach this, maybe from the cashless? I don't know how to explain. Like, for instance, abroad, I mean, the first time I spent £50 in a store, they called manager, called everybody to be sure that money is not fake, because they are not used to. They are not in a society where they are used to seeing a lot of money, right? Can we, if we approach it from that standpoint, is there any hope that we would actually start to shift the minds around this, money culture that we have? Is it possible?
There's something about society. There's culture, meaning it's a way of life. So throwing money is a way of life in Nigeria. You can't rob the people of their culture. What you can do is alter the culture, or maybe teach the next ones not to think of that. But as long as there are O and Bears, as long as people dance in the club and are being sprayed, as long as our tradition is throwing money in the air, it is always going to occur. We have built our entire thought process around it, and nothing is going to change it. So even if we reduce the amount of cash in the economy, people will bring in more cash. Dollars are not reducing the amount of cash. You didn't hear it brought down here. So we only have control over the naira. So that's not going to change anything. So it's a culture mindset. And like I would always say, Nigeria will continue to remain 774 countries in one national boundary till we wake up and fix our politics.
No, but in 2021 August, the CBN put out an article saying that they were working with the EFCC and the police to arrest the people who spray naira notes at parties. So I think so many things are already in place. They just are not being implemented. So it's in Nigeria, we go back to the implementation, and that's what good governance is about. It's about making the right decisions, and then also the process of implementing these decisions or not implementing them. So I think we can round up by saying that we just have bad governance in our country. Because
no, I think I'd like to round up saying this.
Okay.
Nigeria has more laws on corruption than any other country in the world. Nigeria has more of electoral laws than anywhere else.
Okay.
I don't need to explain. The problem has never been implementation. Laws don't stand up and wake up and keep people. The problem has always been that the Nigerian always finds a way to break performing straight or break the line. So we never run a race straight, and that has always been our problem, and it has affected everything.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think laws will always be broken, or they will be broken. But what's the position of the government agencies that are supposed to implement the punishments
for those broken
laws? So it's not even about the breaking of the law.
Let me button here. How many people actually went to driving school, got a driving license? How many people got an international passport legally without paying extra money? You want that same set of society to produce a leader that is ideological? You're joking.
I got my passport legally, Kunle Lawal.
I said issue of how many.
Yeah, that's the problem. But thank you so much. We ran out of time, but we're going to keep this conversation. Hopefully when you're back in Lagos, we'll have maybe another part of this conversation, because I feel like, there's a lot going on right now. And, the good thing for social media is helping. People can see for themselves.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to
Keep
find,
pushing.
yes, and keep talking about this so that people their minds are awakened to this reality that this will never lead us anywhere good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kunle Lawal. Thank you, Manny. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagrams at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. The only way to get money out of politics is to get politics out of money making. It's a very, very strong quote. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment. There's another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Today on The Breakfast, Federal Ministry of Transportation direct resumption of the Abuja-Kaduna train services on Monday, 23rd May, with victims of attack still in captivity.
Also on The Breakfast, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, arrests Accountant General of the Federation, AGF, Ahmed Idris, over 80 billion naira fraud.
And like always, we will be reviewing the major stories making headlines across national dailies. Good morning to you. This is The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadonye.
And I am Messia Bopo. Beautiful morning to you.
Yeah, it's glad to have you join us. We trust you had yourself a rested night and you are braced up for the day ahead. All right, without further ado, we'll just get straight to the business of the day. We'll just slide into what is trending. Indeed, a whole lot is trending. Nigerians are talking about a whole lot of things, big things, the good ones, the bad ones, and of course the ugly at the same time. But let's start off with the issue of bribery and corruption. And this time around, it involves a police officer who is actually asking for a bribe amidst, lambasting Bakalebo as speaking in talks. That is, so there was a video that trended over time. But let's take the video. Okay, I understand we don't have the video anymore. Anyway, so Bercy, it got a whole lot of Nigerians.
I wish we could actually play that video. It would make a lot of sense, but that's fine. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, it is really a very, very... It was funny at the same time, but it is really sad. That this issue of bribery and corruption, it's not going to leave the fabrics of our society anytime soon.
So you remember that sometime in March, there was threats by personnel of the Nigerian police force asking for they were going to embark on the strike, asking for the implementation of the, salary structure. And at that time, you also want to remember that the president had asked that there be some increment in terms of salary and allowance.
Yes, I remember.
But this is not trying to hold brief for bad behavior and unprofessionalism, however you want to look at it. But it still brings us back to the fact that if you look at the welfare of this police officer, it was really comic looking at that video, and I know that we're definitely going to put out that before we get over this particular conversation that's generating reaction. Very comical because the state police officer was seen to be preaching the gospel. He sounded very spiritual, and we're talking about the Christian religion, and he went on, but I played that video a couple of times, and what I could deduce was, I think he was just trying to beg for money.
By preaching.
Yeah, he was just all he was just trying to do was just find his way to ask the young man involved that, hey, come on now, find me something. Do well. All this kind of conversation. That's exactly what was going on. He went on to say, oh, there's nothing wrong with your papers. I'm just saying, you are a chairman, and all of this language, and it's not acceptable, because if you also follow the conversation with the person or the vehicle owner he had impounded or whatever it is that he was having conversation with, you find out that he had his papers. He was very sure that everything in the papers were correct. And so what's the reason for all of that? But I could just see a little bit of trying to say, hey, come on now, give me some money. I have, in the course of this job, sometimes we get to move out in, late hours and all of that. So once upon a time, not in, this region or in this state, I remember being out and about for an assignment. And of course, I had to be out very late. We're accosted by checkpoints and what have you. So you have the military personnel, you find them on the road checking because of crime and criminality that's happening, even though you ask yourself, why do you have to have a military officer on the road? It's not their business. They have no business being on the road. And that's the honest truth. But, it's one of the things that he said. I gave him money. I didn't give him money because I was going to bribe him, but he said, when I told him who I was and he saw my ID card, he was like, you're enjoying. You're inside a car that's fully air-conditioned and everything is going on for you. We don't even have water to drink, and that broke my heart. So I gave him money. I didn't bribe him, but I just gave him because...
Yeah, because you felt at that particular time
he needs
you needed the maker from human kindness. Yeah, because...
Exactly, and it can really be very emotional and very, very sad that those who protect us, those who render these essential services are not treated fairly. They don't have what it is. I mean, because I feel like it's plenty people who just have to come up, okay, I'm wearing a uniform, then I have to bully you, I have to find a way to intimidate you because I have the uniform, I have the gun, and then you have to respond to all of this extortion. But also, it's wrong, it's not acceptable, it's not an excuse, but I think that the Nigerian government needs to pay attention to those who we have said should protect us. Look at the welfare. I have gotten several reports. It's nothing to write home about. Even when you look at the police officer, a lot of them don't look they don't look well. They don't even look fit. They're not properly taken care of, from their uniform being very tacky to the kind of gun that they're holding with sellotape. Have you seen it? It's really embarrassing. And when things happen, sometimes I'll be like, is this officer that would run? Can he even run? So it's okay for us to say that there's an extortion. These persons are extorting people, but it's also okay to think about it. I couldn't even hold myself when he said, we can't even drink water. We've been here all night and there's no provision to drink water. That's really sad.
It is a sad one. Like you have said, the government and the Police Service Commission, those in charge, of ensuring the welfare of these officers who risk their lives or lay down their lives to ensure that, order is assured in the society. They need to be well taken care of. Let's take the video. We'll come back and talk more about the welfare of police officers in Nigeria.
Bros, I told you about spiritual vision. He's training me. What he's training me is the word of God, the personality of the word of God. If I stop you and I don't see, what are you talking about, Pastor? See, if I stop you and I refuse to see what the host of heaven has made me to stop you, I leave this earth.
This is your host of heaven.
What is wrong with you? I've been following you with humility of the word, with obedience of the word.
I need to go.
Okay, you need to go. Package that thing and give me.
Give me my document first, too.
Before you go give me the 10 naira.
No, be say before I give anything.
What is the document? Am I seeing your document?
Give me first now.
So that when I give you finish now, you just...
I won't run.
How you go run?
If I want run, I don't run since now.
No, you can't run.
Hey, I won't run.
See,
not that I can't.
Do you know who arrested you?
Not that I can't run.
It's not police who arrested you. God arrested you for me today.
Hallelujah. Thank God I'm born again.
You say?
Thank God I'm born again. I hope you are born again.
What is the meaning of born again?
I've given my life to Christ.
Have you been converted? Have you been recreated?
By the grace of God.
What is the grace of God? By the truth of the word of God. You are still a church man. Listen, watch me here. What, do you know what is biting you? Can't, except you can't, that you cannot understand me.
Yeah, I've heard you.
Even I try to show you something here, you are not even interested. What is wrong with you? As you then, and if you give me 10,000, you think say na money? Na money? Na money for where you did?
You be big man now.
Which one be big man?
Money?
Where other motors?
Yeah, they hold my husband. I'm not be Yahoo boy.
Which one be Yahoo boy? Even
no, Yahoo boy, they spend all the
wait, did I tell you say you be Yahoo boy? Why are you talking like this? Why are you trying to be very stingy?
Chief.
Which one is chief? Don't call me chief. You can call me a man of God. Don't call me chief.
Man of God.
I am not chief.
Like God now.
Which one is look at the way you are talking flesh. You know, say Adamu to enter. What do you want us to do?
Give my document first.
Not be a document. Package me first.
Package.
Inside office there, this matter we treat it no less than.
Which matter?
What are you talking about now? See, bros, I'm not here to play.
Chief, make I dey go.
Bros, take me to office, I beg.
Chief, make I dey go. Why I dey go office? Why you won't carry me go office?
Because of the papers.
Which papers? Which paper is not complete?
I've asked you now.
Which paper don't I have now?
Please, if I don't like this argument,
you asked me for insurance. I've shown you the insurance.
Excuse me. Let's go. Let another senior officer enter into it because
Chief, I'm not going.
I said stop calling me chief. I'm not a chief.
All right, that's the video we've been talking about. The sentiment about the guy just has to do his job professionally. If you checked his papers, even if you needed to check his papers, and you found out that there was nothing wrong, so why stall him? Why delay him? And if he has to give you anything, even if he wants to, it should be from his own volition. You should not force him, insisting that he has to give you 10,000 for crying out loud mercy. After all the preaching that you've preachified the guy.
So let's even come to the part of preaching, right? Even the Bible would say, those who believe in the Bible, if you read it very well, it would say that you have to test all spirits. You don't need to believe everything. So anyone can come in a disguise of saying they're preachers. I mean, he sounded very spiritual. You could take him serious.
Apparently not so spiritual.
You could take him serious for a while. But it feels like maybe it could just also be a way to cajole people to get you to...
That's just a complete gimmick. If you were preaching, then you preach and go. And let him just
No,
go.
well, what's the essence of the preaching?
Because
if you follow the conversation, it was that it wasn't...
He didn't stop the guy because...
he was led to stop the guy. It was not even him.
So it was not even the police that arrested him.
And you know how Nigerians can be very gullible when it has to do with a lot of people will just fall for this, and when you hear, oh, there's a God involved in this and it's spiritual, and then you fall for it and say, oh, man of God, take this. So, but I just see a police officer who needs money, and he tried to be decent in asking for the money, not going the regular route. He was asking
for a bribe. That's what it is.
No, of course that's a bribe. He was asking for money, right? But I'm saying that he tried to be very decent in all of this.
What stylish way to ask for bribe?
Exactly. Disguise, come with the fact that you're trying to proclaim that you're a Christian, and
Christian.
It's a lot. But
right,
we move away from that. I'm hoping that because his face was identified, so we hope that he's been.
Well, the certain reaction should be, meted out to him. My director says he was just hungry. Well, if he was hungry, he would have stepped aside.
If I don't say, oh God, you're hungry, buy me food now.
All right, still talking about divinity, providence, divine intervention. This time around, it was at a church service. You know how people, could be, and how people could get very spiritual, when it comes to their needs, and how. I'm trying to avoid some words.
I know you see. So I actually envisaged this. I knew you were going to laugh a lot.
Well,
but it feels like you're trying to put yourself together. So if you want to laugh,
I thought about the last time I clapped hands so loud at them. This time around, some female congregants, single ones that they were desperately asking God to intervene in their singleness or singlehood as it is right now. Let's hear the sound of it. It will bring more rice into the take. Oh, way to go. Mercy, where did they carry you to go? And the lady who was singing, I think she needs to go to the studio, and she sounds like she sings very well, okay. Yeah, she sings very well. And carry me there, go, Jehovah, carry me there, go, my husband's house.
In my mind, I'm just thinking.
I think that song should be released as a single.
See, trust me. I mean, it's a lot. So I saw this video yesterday, and it's been generating a lot of reactions. It's very comical. There's no way we probably would have put this out without laughing. And if you don't laugh, just know there's something wrong with us.
But then they are seeking God's intervention.
What sort of intervention?
They need husbands in their lives.
So I don't know what it is. I don't even know where to start from.
No, they want to be carried. They want me to carry them go husband house.
Now. How?
I don't know if God will bring men to their lives.
No, so I think that, the issue of marriage is very great for us. We've actually had this conversation, maybe not you with Kofi, or maybe one of us, right, in the system. And we talked about the fact that we live in a society where marriage has been it feels like when you graduate from the university, okay, from the time you start school, your parents have already sorted out how your life should work. So marriage is a priority. It's on top of the list. And no one says that it is bad. Do you understand? No one says that marriage is horrible. It's not a bad thing. It's not, I mean, it's okay to be married and all of that. But when it gets to the point where it feels like then we have to be seeking, you know, prayers for these and then begin to ask. That's because some people have been, it's how we have prioritized it. African parents, Nigerian parents, if you want to say. So it feels like when you get to a certain school, from nursery, primary school, and then you get to secondary school, you get through the university. At a certain age, it's expected that you should marry.
Even from like your third
So
final year,
it's not even, so first of all, educational, if you follow the process, because there's some parents who are very, families who are very specific that you have to go through, you know, the educational process. So as soon as you're done, you have graduated, the next thing is you're getting married. That's the chart, that's the process, that's it entirely. But someone made a comment yesterday that got my attention, and this person is very, I think she's a journalist. I read that comment about all of this, and the person said, you know, some of these persons who are asking to be married don't even have a job, they don't have any source of livelihood, there's really nothing to write home about, and they're just waiting, you know, to be married
off. They're not enjoying their singlehood.
Exactly.
They're nothing of what they can bring to the
So
table
I feel
for
like
family.
this is coming from the pressure from society.
Yes, family ties
this is as a result of the pressure of society. You know, all of the
making women to be desperate.
So this is actually it. And then you look at some of the people who are really here. Really, what exactly are we talking about? So it comes from the priority the society have put. You know, in front of us, and the fact that, you know, there's a lot of pressure. Whether or not you like it or not, you still have people call you and say, you're not married, what's going on? Why you're not married, and all of that. And so it would be responsible why some of these persons would be thinking that they have some spiritual problem. First of all, they'll be thinking that there's something wrong with them.
There's no problem.
But Justin, have you also thought that just as we're going to have the poor would always be with us? Have you also thought that it's not everybody that's going to get married?
I was going to say that because, in life, you should understand what your purpose is, really. Most people think their life is just to, like Mercy has said, go through a primary, secondary school, university, then get into marriages, give birth and have children, and expect their children, you know, to start going to school and everything, just like a circle. But then have you actually asked yourself, have you ever tried to discover why you are in this world? What have you been brought here to do? What's your purpose in life? What is your contribution to, you know, to the world exactly? So most times, in as much as you want to get married and you're still single, you should try and understand your singlehood, enjoy your singlehood, make the most of your singlehood, and of course, build on yourself, work on yourself. I'm not trying to do some maybe single and married classes here. Well, maybe I should be doing some counseling. But the truth is that the fact is really enjoy your singlehood until when that time comes, you will get married if you desire it. And again, to the society, I don't know why you put so much emphasis. Marriage is good. It is an institution made by God. Fine, we understand all that. But some people just might never get married. Some people just don't want to get married. Some people just want to live their lives for themselves. I mean, it is their prerogative. They can do whatever they want to do. Don't pressure them. First of all, it is their life. They can live it the best way they want to, so long as they're not hurting anyone. They're not going against the law. So let's just slide away from that. Then again, here in, not here in Lagos, in Osun State. Now, remember the Senator Adeleke, this time around, he was being boastful, as it is, of his financial capabilities. He said, I've come with money. Adeleke boasts during campaign. Okay, we understand we have the track. We'll take that track and we'll come back and talk some more.
You are the one to decide. You should already ever pay, ever for you. Provided to one, what you want there. I need you. Enjoy Battery. What are you doing? He was a dollar. He's a dollar. You are the one to decide. You should rakidi. Ever pay, ever for ya. Provide that to one, what you want there.
All right, welcome back. That was at the campaign rally in Osun State. You know, the elections are just around the corner. But let me just translate a quote into my director. He was speaking in Yoruba there. I might not say whatever he said verbatim, but he says, people of Osun, it's time to decide. Don't be scared. If it is about money, I have brought money. Have patience. I have money in naira, dollars, and pounds. Mercy, I don't know. We talk about money politics and campaigning and everything, and we're just seeing this in broad daylight. And it's not just about whether he has money, whether he's boasting about his money. So he's telling the people that he has brought money. Is this some sort of inducement? You know, I wonder what the EFCC does when people just come out. I don't know if they are sleeping, but the truth is that when things are done like this, I just feel that it is not right.
So it's okay to have the conversation that is not right. First you say it's not right, but is this our reality? Is another thing that you need to also understand. Now, whether or not we want to agree or we want to believe with it, it's what has become. It is our reality. The money bag politics is what we practice.
It's just shameful.
And so, as much as we can say, yes, we know that there's a lot of effort to say, let's dissuade people, but what really happens, we see hands, you know, bags exchanging and people doing all sorts. And so it is really what, you know, that has become part of our political process. And a lot of times you find that the people would sell their votes, you have delegates doing that, and you also have the people who are vying for the offices trying to induce the people. So in the particular context, what exactly is he talking about? Don't worry that I probably might not be stealing your money because I have money, you know, in pounds and dollars. Or what does it really mean if it's money you want? I'm here to give you the money. It could just mean anything, really. But we can't take that out from the fact that this is the kind of politics that we practice, where money would always exchange hands for almost everything, and that's why, you know, for the likes of him, one would say that his you know, he has the guts to really say that, not necessarily understanding the context.
It was a daredevil approach, you know, in the glare of the public. In all of these things happen, the exchange of money back politics, and you know, inducing people behind you know, closed doors, even during election grants, and inciting them or inducing them with money. But this time I'm coming to a campaign grant, and that I don't know what context it meant, but it could be read from various lines, various perspectives, or that he has money and that he doesn't need the people's money, or maybe he's here to make the people happy with his pounds, dollars, and naira. But the fact is that what are you selling to the people? Let our politicians, let our campaigns be issue-based. What are you bringing to the table? What difference are you coming to make? And mean them, and not just mere promises, not just promising them that you have money and that money is not your problem, and they should calm down.
Yeah, so you also know, I'm trying not to, you know, hold brief for him. It's not like I, you know him, but the truth is, if you also want to understand in what context was this put out, it could also be because a lot of people think that those who are vying for political office are vying for political position because they probably want to just take the part of the national cake. They want to be part of the national cake, and that's what it is. So we're here not necessarily as much as we're saying, okay, yeah, we're here for you, we want to change your story, we want to change the dynamics and change the situation. But on the other hand, the essence that you're here is because you want to also be part of the national cake, take your own share, move on. And so it might be from that premise that I'm saying, hey, relax, I have money, I have it in Naira, I have it in pounds. But it could also be in the context that it's okay, if you want money, I have money, I can give you money. So just relax, I'm here. It could just mean anything. But like I said, it's our reality. That's what it is. The fact that some people have decided to be bold, to come forth and sound this, which comes through as some level, because, I mean, if you come out and say, hey, I have money, it's a lot of arrogance. Imagine me just saying that you have money, I have money, come to me.
Okay, fine. We are almost out of time, but let's just try and take this one. I know the Lagos State traffic law has been in place since 2012. There's been a whole lot of clamp-down, relaxation, resumption of clamp-down. This time around, we hear that the Lagos State government is about beginning to clamp down on commercial motorcycle operators, popularly known as Okada. There are several routes that the government, posted out that should not be, applied by these Okada riders. And, it was like a field day for, corrupt police officers, trying to, make the most of the situation with the police, the Okada riders over time. And but the fact is that right now there is a law concerning this issue of routes to ply, routes not to ply, and I think it's been 10 years. Most people should be aware of all they need to do by now. But Lagos State government is about clamping down on them. Let's just see how that goes.
But you also understand that this would it's in connection with the man that was actually killed in Lekki a day before yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And I know that for some states, you have that they had actually put out a law, especially in Cross River State, once upon a time, where there's a serious prohibition on Okada, if you like to say. I mean, as they're popularly known, they have been restricted from
some certain
roads in the state, and then you probably only have to find them driving or riding around the filler roads. So because sometimes you have, the feeder roads, sometimes you need to get to the road, and so there are feeder roads where you have to transport people, but that's the much that they can do. And it's a lot going on, but of course it's a responsibility of government at every time and in different quarters.
Yes, well, whatever it is, let's just try as much as possible to obey all the laws and abide by all traffic rules. It was sad what really happened with the guy that was killed. We talked about it yesterday. But I would still wish the family, of the guy who died and the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. That's as much as we can take on Top Trending. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back shortly with Off the Press. To join us again.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bukky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Welcome, it's the Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Time for us to go through the pages of our national dailies. We call it Off the Press. Chris Kane, the Wandu, is on standby. He joins the conversation in no time. Chris Kane, it's good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right, then. Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. Our focus would be on the top stories on the Guardian. Federal government faces tough choices to stabilize economy as inflation bites harder. And underneath you have inflation rate jumps to 16.8% in April, highest in 8 months. But we've been looking at, double-digit inflation consecutively for the past 7 years. Fuel scarcity, insecurity hike in Jet A1 compound woes. Don't expect deceleration until September, RD suggests. MPR may join interest rate hike fair. Flight disruption looms as fuel scarcity worsens. You also have bandit kills 6 abduct village head in Kano. Deborah Yakubu pleas arraign 2 in Sokoto. Deborah Yakubu pleas arraign 2 in Sokoto. And just before we move away, 80 million Nigerians living with hypertension, 26.7 million receiving treatment. EFCC arrests Accountant General Idris for alleged 80 billion naira fraud. These are the headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning.
From the Guardian, we'll move next to the Nation newspaper. The bold caption for this morning: EFCC arrests federal government's top accountant over 80 billion naira of fraud. Money laundering in real estate suspected. AGF faces allegation of overstaying in office. Above the masthead, Silva Talent opts not to resign. Amechi Alashadura quit. Supreme Court to hear appeal on Section 84, subsection 12 on Thursday. Ocean voters can be bought. Oyetola replies Adeleke. Federal government blames tax exemption for revenue loss. More stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper. INEC gives APC, PDP others deadline. Parties inform agency of convention venues dates. Delegates list to be submitted 7 days to the primaries. ASU strikes student protest in Ondo, Oyo, Ogun State. My support for Yahaya Bello intact, says Hasfat Abiola. Petrol scarcity looms in Ondo State. And those are the top stories. Okay, we can see some more. AKT 2022, APP6 replacement of candidate. Igbo youth endorse Oni. PDP rejects ANAP poll report. APC candidate Oyebanji calls for a violence-free poll. Those are all of the stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper.
Away from the Nation, we take a look at the Punch newspaper this morning. Timetable: INEC talks tough as 18 parties fail to conduct primaries. Not going back on election timetable, June 3rd as deadline. INEC warns parties. APC orders intensify lobbying as commission says terminal date for primaries fixed. PDP postpones governor, senator or Senate primaries for the third time. Cites IPOP sit-at-home order. The riders you find underneath the bold caption on the Punch this morning. Now the dollar hit 600 naira at Paro market. The FX supply shrinks. Amid failed negotiation, NRC to resume Abuja-Kaduna train service. And you also find fraud. EFCC arrests accountant general, alleges 800 million naira, 80 billion naira diversion. Marketers divert Jet A1 to foreign airlines. Scarcity hits local carriers. There's a lot we have to grapple with. As ASU issues, you find ex-minister faults state varsities and protest rocks Southwest Edo. Just before we move away, federal government extends money laundering law to casinos, others, and banned shell account. Inflation hits 16.82%, exceeds IMF's 2022 projection. Okay, and Northern, Southeast, and South presidential aspirant greedy, selfish. That's what Nnamdi Kalu is quoted to say, or Kalu. You find Lagos school driver bags live jail for defiling a 5-year-old pupil. And NCDC warns against rats over monkeypox, Lassa fever. Some of the headlines you find on the Punch this morning.
Away from the Punch, the last paper we are reviewing is the Daily Independent. 30 years after, burst pipelines to Lagos airport haunt airlines. Stakeholders say pipelines would have made Jet A1 cheaper. Worried use of tankers to discharge fuel at airport risky. Say 5 million liters of aviation fuel sold at Lagos airport daily. Other stories on the Daily Independent. Silva withdraws presidential bid back to office. PSC promotes former EFCC boss Magu. Others AIG. Police kill gunmen enforcing seated home in Anambra. Inflation rises to 16.82%, highest in 8 months, amid fuel scarcity insecurity. ASU strike UI allow tech students protest block major roads in Ibadan. Unions accuse Aero management of planning to kill airline. Kick against 40% sack of workforce. Unions allegations unfounded. Management. Deborah Samuel, I was a devout Muslim. Quran does not justify killing Tunde Bakare. Court remand suspected killers defended by 34 lawyers. Federal government directs Abuja-Kaduna train services resumption. Why I chose Yahaya Bello over Southwest presidential aspirant Hafizat Abiola. Those are the main stories on the Daily Independent this morning.
Chris Kende-Wandu, thank you for joining us once again. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's leave it open to you now on which of the headlines interest you as we went through the pages of our national dailies.
Of course, it has to be the arrest of the Accountant General of the Federation by the EFCC. And this brings to question the credibility of some of the people at the helms of affairs in Nigeria. If the Accountant General of a federation could be arrested for alleged fraud, let's continue to use the word is alleged, because until EFCC finishes investigation and he's charged to court and prosecuted, he still remains a suspect. But that is, to me, is very, very unfortunate, because for somebody at that level who should know better, for him to find himself in a situation like this, then that speaks volume. The most annoying aspect of it for me is that from the information released by EFCC, he had been invited several times to come and make a response to some of the allegations leveled against him, and he refused to appear before the EFCC and refused their invite. Probably he thinks he's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or the vice president, the two, or a governor, the two people that are immune from prosecution. But it's good that EFCC have gone after, have gotten him arrested. I hope that he will have his time in court. And if he's found guilty, it's not just only being sacked, it shouldn't be sacked. The ICANN, the umbrella body that's in charge of accountants, should also derobe him, because they need to be the accountant general of the federation. He must be a fellow of ICANN. He should also be derobed. By so doing, we send the right signal to individuals who think that and just displace misuse public trust. And for me, that is that. So I hope that he is not go like this. So many others before him, who we just see a media trial, they just picked up, and after some days, they be left off the hook, and we continue as if nothing happened and life goes on. This case must be seen to a logical conclusion.
All right, let's slide on to the Guardian newspaper. The economy seems to be their main interest for this morning. And the federal government faces tough choices to stabilize economy as inflation bites harder. That's their main story. And we are actually being faced with inflation rate jumping to 16.8 in April, the highest in 8 months. How do you think we can swim out of these troubled waters, Chris?
Until we're able to have people with the right mindset who can be able to dissect and be able to do it, we always find ourselves in this situation. Don't forget, in the past few 1 or 2 years, the excuse has been that, oh, it was COVID. Because of COVID, that's why we're always going into recession. That's why we're having all the challenges. We have been out of COVID for close to 1 year now. So, but we should also not take this away from the global trend. There is a lot happening within the international community and international economic community that goes to show that the economy in most parts of the world is not growing. But we can be able to do much in our part if we can do the needful. I have said it time with price number that an economy that is monopolistic in nature can never grow. An economy that depends almost 90% of its foreign exchange from oil cannot grow. Until we're able to start looking at other sectors like agriculture, like mining, and even telecom. Most countries of the world, like India, China, and so many other countries, are making so much money in the area of telecommunication. So, until we're able to look at this, this is what we're going to get. We're even talking of the growth. Look at our rates when it comes to unemployment. It is one of the highest in the world. And we have a lot of people that should be fully engaged and they're fully employed, but they cannot find a job. You see graduates coming out of the universities, polytechnics, college of education on a yearly basis. Some people with first class, they find it difficult a job. And I have always said, part of the problem also is that we are not doing what we were doing in the past. Messi, you remember that we used to have what is called NDE. The essence of NDE then, when it was established, I think it was by Babangida, for people, graduates that have graduated to be, they have to learn certain skills. Everybody cannot get a white-collar job to work with Plus TV, to work with NNPC, NCC, or wherever. Graduates should be taught the skill of acquisition skills so that when they come out, they don't have to start waiting for these white-collar jobs. That is the problem we are having now. So I hope that those within our economic team able to look inward and make sure that we make this in the border as well. But it's not looking up at all.
All right, Chris, let's also look at the Punch this morning. It talks about INEC and the elections, the fact that you have 18 parties failing to conduct their primaries. And INEC is very fixed on not shifting grounds because the deadline is still June the 3rd. What are your thoughts, and what does he even make of political parties, especially, those who are saying we want to take the affairs of governance because you have them filing candidates for different offices in the country?
The most ridiculous that I read is the one by PDP that the reason why he has not been able to conduct his primary is because of the sit-at-home in the Southeast. You only have sit-at-home in the Southeast on Monday. Then what happens on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday? That to me is just a flimsy excuse, and that goes to show you the unseriousness of the political parties. And that is why some of our rival leaders are coming up with this kind of insinuation that, let's give Buhari 6 months extension, let's have an interim government that's been canvassed by senior advocates of Nigeria, after Babalola and the rest of them. If the political parties are not even up to expectation and do what they are supposed to do, then you can now understand whether they are really ready for 2023. INEC has come out with this guideline for long. It has given them, they sat with INEC, and they agreed on this date. The political parties had a meeting with INEC several times, and this date was. So why are they trying to jettison this date? I believe that INEC should be sacrosanct on this issue because any alteration of these dates will affect the timeline for INEC to conduct the 2023 election. The political parties should do the needful. Political parties that are just more interested in collecting 100 million naira and 40 million naira for presidential aspirants and shifting the dates because of the money they are going to make, rather than sticking to the timetable that said that. INEC has said that June 3rd is the last day for this. I think they should just go and try to do the needful so that we don't have this unnecessary distraction, so that INEC can focus itself in planning for the 2023 election.
All right, Chris, let's move on to the Daily Independent. It is talking about the scarcity of aviation fuel, and it aptly captions it this way: 30 years after, burst pipelines to Lagos Airport haunt airlines. With the rider, stakeholders say pipelines would have made Jet A1 cheaper. Do you agree, Chris?
I'm not an expert on aviation matters, but from what I have read, if there is a pipeline that's supposed to be transporting those aviation fuel, the Murtala Mohammed Airport or MM1, then something needs to be done. If that has been in comatose for over 30 years, then we need to, because part of the complaint by the aviation operators is that the cost of transporting aviation fuel from the port to the airport is very, very expensive. Don't forget, first and foremost, some custom will disturb you, police will collect their own, local government will collect, NATO or whatever they call the association will collect, NRC will collect. So by the time you add up, then the talk less of the police at every check between Apapa and Murtala Mohammed and waiting to collect their own. When you factor all this into the price of the aviation fuel, then that becomes a problem. But that has not been the issue that has been raised for long. Part of the issue is that the aviation fuel is not even available. And where it is available, it is very, very expensive. I remember the press statement issued by the operators last week when they wanted to embark on that. They said that it has jumped from what it used to 700 naira. Are we saying that it's just because of the transportation alone that take that job? They are also saying that there's a lot of corruption within the system, that they cannot get this patient to buy at the right price. I know that there was a soft gap meeting where it was agreed that to be given to them, I think, for about 500 or so for about 3 months. But that is a short-term measure. What is the long-term measure for this? How will they be able to get this aviation? If you go to the airport now and see the level of rescheduling of flights, you shock. In fact, you stay at the airport for about 3-4 hours. The next thing you are told that your flight has been outrightly cancelled, and nobody is giving you any reason for that. And if nothing is done in the days to come, then we are going to have the inevitable is going to happen. There will be total shutdown of the aviation sector. And don't forget, aviation is not like road transportation or rail transportation. It's a very, very dynamic industry that if for any reason you want to start cutting corners, and there's possibility of having some kind of crashes and accident that we used to have in the past, God forbid. So I think the stakeholders, both the federal government, the Ministry of Petroleum, the airline operators and marketers should be able to come together and find a lasting solution to this problem.
80 million Nigerians living with hypertension, 26.7 million receiving treatment. Chris Kende Nwandu, does this statistics and figure shock you?
You know, shock me, Mercy. You said the hardship within Nigeria no reach to give people hypertension. Okay. Not true now. Problem within Nigeria now reach to give people hypertension. You cannot get a job, you cannot eat, you find it difficult to make a living, your children are out of school. When you even come out, you are not even sure that you'll be safe, that somebody will not kidnap you, somebody will not pick you up and call for and start asking for ransom and the rest of them. It is enough to give Nigerians hypertension. So it is not, to me, it's not a surprise. They're just talking about 80. I'm sure it is more than that. Most Nigerians now are living in total, not only abject poverty, but in fear. In fear that they don't know whether if they go out in the morning, they'll come back there. They are in fear that their children cannot find food for their children. They are in fear because they cannot pay the school fees of their children. They are in fear that at any given time, Nigeria has become endangered species. That it needs the hypertension level of most Nigerians, not just only hypertension. There are some that are having other illnesses that you want to ask yourself, how do we get here? Until we continue to do the right thing and make sure that the citizens feel a sense of responsibility, they believe a kind of relief, and know that they are in a country where the government can be able to assuage some of their needs and they'll be able to make a living. This will continue to happen. Problem now is situation where the man of the house is out of job, woman of the house doesn't have anything doing if she may be out of job, where she rent a small kiosk here and try to sell bread and whatever. Town council or local government come, they destroy the pick up all the and the rest of them. Have 4 children out of school. That is enough for hypertension. So I am not surprised by that statistic at all.
All right, Chris, as we round off, there's this story on the Nation newspaper. We actually talked about it on Top Trending, and there are follow-ups to that. Osun voters can't be bought, Oyetola replies Adeleke. Remember the video that is trending right now, where Adeleke was actually boasting about his financial prowess.
I used to respect a dancing senator. He's one of the people, politicians I used to have some kind of respect. But from the utterances and from what I saw and I heard, I was highly disappointed that somebody at that level maybe thought that governance is all about bread and butter, stomach infrastructure, or whatever you call it. This is a race clause. And that is what is bringing to the I think the people of Osun should just discard him. And forget about him and look for other candidates, because it is high level of irresponsible for somebody of that caliber to be making that. And what is he trying to tell Osun people that they are hungry-minded people that can be bought with now? But even at that, you have to realize that such statement also happened in the last election in Osun State, where somebody came out and said that he is richer than Osun. So this is not new. Maybe he's throwing the line of that same person, that so-called big man. So take that. This is not the first. You can go back and search. Somebody made that statement that he is richer than Osun State as an individual. So, but that is kind of reckless statement by our political leader. If anybody said that in advance of the local, you can rest assured that it was not immediate. So it is very reckless statement and very unbecoming of somebody who wants to aspire to the highest office in Osun State as a governor.
All right, thank you so much, Chris Nwandu, Chartered Mediator and Conciliator, for your time on Off the Press for this Tuesday morning. We do appreciate the thoughts that you have shared.
Thank you very much for having me, and do have a nice
week ahead. All right, that's as much as we can take on Off the Press for this morning. We'll take you through what happened this day in history in a moment, and when we come back, we'll be going straight to our first conversation for the day. Do join us again.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamode Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment on winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Welcome back. It's still The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa, and we are talking security matters, transportation, and all inclusive, everything going on at the same time. But this time around, the Nigerian government, through the Federal Ministry of Transportation, has directed the resumption of the Abuja-Kaduna train services on Monday, 23rd May. In a statement signed by the Nigerian Railway Corporation Deputy Director Public Relations, Yakub Mahmood, the board and management of the corporation said that they wish to inform their customers that additional security measures are being put in place at both the train stations and the track to ensure the safety of the passengers on board. The corporation therefore urged passengers to comply with the additional measures that will surely, according to them, be introduced for the safety of their passengers, such as requesting for passengers' national identification numbers (NIN) as part of their internal security check. In addition, presentation of the following must be strictly complied with before boarding the train. Now, the NRC management appealed to customers for understanding and urged them to cooperate with staff at the various train stations. We have Yahuza Getso, security expert, joining us this time around. Good morning to you, Yahuza.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, listeners and viewers.
Yeah, good morning. Let's talk about this resumption, May 29. This is coming amid, concerns that those who were kidnapped, the victims, are still in captivity, and the NRC is assuring passengers, their customers, of improved security. How do you react?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you and the viewers and our listeners that, I have already made a clear statement that Buhari administration is never a serious administration. They don't have passion and compassion for the human life as well as the citizens of Nigeria, and at the same time, they don't have they keep telling lies, they keep telling stories, they keep creating confusion among themselves and within themselves. At a time when you have people in hundreds that you don't even have a actual number of the people in captivity. And now you are saying that you want to start operating on 29th for the train, Abuja-Kaduna train. Yes, of course, it's good to start operating, but have they created an enabling environment that will build the confidence of those who are using the train for their movement? How can you sustain use of helicopter to monitor the train between Kaduna and Abuja? Is it cost effective? How much are you going to impute in managing that? And how sustainable is that? It's unrealistic. However, we are challenging the minister and the federal government under the leadership of Muhammadu Buhari to come out and explain to us the measures that have been put in place that will ensure securing the people that will be utilizing the train. And at the same time, since the time when the train was attacked, I have been flying Kaduna-Abuja road. I have not seen any measure towards improving the status and the situation of the security and safety of life and property for people that have been flying the road. So it's the government that squandered billions and trillions and millions of money in the name of securing the nation, but yet, rather than being secured, we are becoming unsecured every now and then. So the security challenges is widening, and at the same time, the leadership style, is very, very poor, and the administration have exhibited their incapability and inability to deal with this situation. We have said time without number, and I have said myself, and I'm repeating myself, that I know all locations where these bandits are, and I know where they are, and they know who I am, and I know who they are. And I am repeating myself that all the governors of the respective states where this banditry and all this criminality is taking place in northern Nigeria, especially north central and northwest, all the governors and all the security chiefs and security operatives, as right from the division, the outpost of the police, to the divisional police office, the local security officer who is the representative of the DSS, the immigration, the civil defense, as well as the area commanders. They all know who are the commanders of these bandits. They know them. They have their numbers. They are discussing with them. They are communicating on phone, and they know their locations. And all our traditional leaders, they know where they are. So as far as I'm concerned, it is only that Buhari administration is never a serious administration. And it's a big disgrace to Nigeria, and it's an absolute failure. Buhari have deceived people. It's a big deceit.
All right, Yahuza,
that's my comment on this.
Yahuza, we'll come back to you because we understand that the families, they're still lamenting this whole issue. They are groaning in pain. We'll take sound on tape. We'll come back and talk more with you. Stay with us, please.
Okay.
And then coming back. Since this unfortunate attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train, we believe the government and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, alongside the security and intelligence chiefs, have been working to rescue our loved ones. We have been given assurances that a positive outcome of these efforts will be apparent soon. We must, however, register our displeasure with the way and manner the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Chibuike-Amici, has been handling the tragic event since it occurred. Mr. President also directed the management of Nigerian Railway Corporation to establish a situation group to give a minute-by-minute account of rescue efforts to relatives of kidnapped passengers. Still, 1 week after this presidential directive was issued, NRC has neither contacted the relatives of kidnapped victims nor established any situation group
to release them safely and let them free and all those in captivity.
I have my 2 parents in captivity. This is the 42nd day in captivity and still counting. We are please appealing to the government to please bring back our loved ones. We have missed them, and some of them are breadwinners in the family. We really need them back. We, the families, are waiting in anguish, and living without them has not been easy, and it's still not easy, and it's so terrifying.
If you have the rail and people are not safe to ply on the rail, what is the use of the rail? And that's the same thing we have. We have our loved ones, and imagine somebody is thinking of starting the rail again. I mean, it's impossible. We're not going to take it. That's definitely...
All right, welcome back. It's still the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We just saw a report there. You know, the families of the victims are still groaning, and amid some government reassurances. Yahuza, you know, there was a statement put out by the NRC. They have assured relatives of the abducted citizens in captivity that the safe rescue of these passengers is a top priority, and not to misconstrue the resumption of train services as abandonment. Do you really agree with the government's statement, the NRC statement? Is it anything to go by?
Well, there is nothing that will come out of our administration that can carry any weight. So I don't trust, and I will never trust Nigeria Railway Corporation, because I am among one of the intelligence experts that provided a free service, a free information ahead of, before the attack of the train. I have provided intelligence to the Kaduna team. I have provided intelligence to the national team, to the Defense Intelligence Agency, and all the intelligence structures. That there is need to take certain measures. And SARU were moving somewhere around those vicinities, around the radius of about 75 kilometers, which form part of the areas where the train is passing by. But I was never taken serious. And I know there are other intelligence who have been providing such information like I have been doing, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that's providing such information, even though I'm providing my own free of charge at no cost. Probably that is the reason why Buhari administration is neglecting those information that we have been providing free. The aim is to contribute our own quota, being the expert, being the people that we have been risking our life to go into the forest, to go to the areas that even our security operatives cannot go, to conduct a fact-based assessment, to conduct survey, and also discuss with the relatives of the people in the captivity, as well as the people that have been harassed by these bandits. But yet, government have not taken it serious. And at the same time, I know there are intelligence equipment that monitor and track all activities that happen 50-kilometer radius outside Kaduna. So if this is available, why the security agencies were unable to fast track and even wasted 1 hour 47 minutes? I keep repeating myself. My daughter, the daughter of my friend that was shot by the bandits, was making a phone call, and she reached out to her parents. This is their situation. And also, I have a friend in the train who happens to be one of the people who escaped. And he made a clear statement to many media houses, national and international, because he too is a media expert, that he was inside the toilet for 1 hour 47 minutes before the arrival of the security agencies, the military, and whatever you call them. So if government cannot manage this situation, less than 15-kilometer drive between where the train was attacked to the train station at Regasa in Kaduna, and these cowards, the bandits, were able to assemble buses and cut away the people they have kidnapped. They ran away. And we provided information immediately for what is happening there. And I know Nigerian Air Force, they have aeroplanes, they have jets that they can use to lighten up to 600 kilometers from the sky and even 1,500 kilometers from the sky. Why didn't they use that in order to even scare the criminal so that the criminal will run away and the people will be saved? But yet, up till now that I'm talking to you, government have not done anything, have done nothing in putting any measures that will help this people that have been in captivity for almost 2 months to be reunited with their families.
Yeah, I also get so. So the federal government has stated, I mean, that statement wouldn't have been backed up by the NRC, but it's a statement where the government is saying that they would ensure that those who are still in captivity are rescued because they would not, abandon or relegate their responsibility. However, the question here now is, do you think that it's sensible, it's enough to have the rail train up and running? Especially after you still have people not being rescued, you still have kidnapped persons in captivity of terrorists.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's only on serious people that will listen to the NRC they're trying to assure people that they have provided measures.
Yahuza gets so.
What you're supposed to do.
Yahuza gets so. My question is, do you think it's logical? Do you think it's rational that the government would give that directive that the train should be up and running, the train services should be up and running at the time where you still have some persons in the captivity of terrorists and the security of those who would be, using these means of transportation is not entirely guaranteed?
It's very irrational. It's very, very irrational decision. What governments would have done is to find a way of reaching out to these coward bandits, either by killing all of them or doing taking whatever measures to rescue those in captivity and let them reunite back with their families, and then deal with the situation decisively. I said, and I'm repeating, there is no location of these bandits that is not known. So if government squandered billions and trillions of money in the name of procuring equipment and intelligence equipment and gadgets that can be used in monitoring and tracking all the activities, these bandits that have kidnapped the people, those who were attacked at the train, they have been communicating with the families of those in captivity. So what measures have government put in place to track them? And I said, if they don't know where they are, the traditional leaders and the divisional police officers, the in charges of the immigration and the in charges of the civil defense and at all the local governments, they know the location where these people in captivity are. So let them rescue them first. That's the only way to build the confidence of people, of public, to continue to accept all the conditions or all whatever the Nigeria Railway Corporation is saying, as well as the Minister of Transportation and the unserious government of Buhari administration.
All right, Yahuza, let's look at some of the so-called security or internal measures that the NRC says, they have put in place. For instance, they talked about, the presentation of NIN and, of course, no more morning and night, services for now. Do you really think those ones are far-reaching?
It's supposed to move in the day or in the night. That has nothing to do with whatever. Has nothing to do with the train is moving at night. That is why it is being attacked by the bandits. It's no. The last attack that happened last year in October, I was in the train and it was early morning hours. And you remember we had a discussion, I had an interview with your station, and I made mention that I was part of the people that were in the train, and we were attacked in the early hours. So it has nothing to do with that. What matters is for you to have a serious government, for you to have a serious system. If you have a serious government and you have a serious system, these guys can be fished out, and within 10 to 16 weeks, all the bandits and all the criminality in Nigeria can be dealt with. But since you don't have a serious government, you don't have a serious management in the Nigeria Railway Corporation, you don't have a serious management in the Ministry of Transport, that is why we cannot move stone from where it is to anywhere. I will continue to recycle, and I want to tell you, I'm not praying, but worst attack may happen in the later future or in the near future. I'm not praying for that.
All right, Yahuza.
In all honesty, the Buhari administration is a failure, and they are not serious about curing people and life. I have made it very, very clear. Remember, they borrowed money in order to put this rail line. So if you squander that money and you cannot provide security measures for safety of life and property, then you are not serious.
All right, Yahuza, as we round off from this particular discourse, as emotional as it is now, what do you think can be done in the interim, so that we can ensure adequate security? What features do you expect to see, in the short run, let's say in the next few days and weeks, so because at the end of the day, people will still need to apply still need to move from point A to point B. Those who are not comfortable with the roads or even have enough to fly may want to resort to the train. Yes.
In this regard, what's supposed to be done is government supposed to provide monitors and intelligence trackers between Ida, Jere, Gidambusa, Akilubu, Rijana, Aduwanja, to ensure that all these locations, the neighborhood where the bandits are, is clear. And those who are conniving and informants who are known to be dealt with decisively so that it can serve as a deterrent for others to learn a lesson out of it. And then at the same time, government must provide intelligence equipment that will provide at least information to the commuters of the train so that they can have information at least 15 kilometers, and between each and every station where the train used to stop, there should be a clear communication gadget whereby one station will be communicating with other between Kaduna and Abuja, and between Abuja and Kaduna. Probably this will help, and at the same time, they should improve in the way of selling the tickets. Not a situation whereby one general or one inspector general or a commissioner of police will buy 20 tickets on arrival at the station, while many people will be joining queue, and then at the time when the train, maybe an hour or even 2 days before, they will be told that there is no more tickets. So there is need to do a lot of check and balances on the attitude and characters and background of the personnel of the Nigerian Railway Corporation at the respective stations between Kaduna and Abuja, right from Idu, Kubwa, and Ragasa, among others.
All right.
Because there is a lot of corruption in the system which need to be dealt with. And there must be a punishable punishment to some of the staff that were found wanting. So that will serve as a deterrent. Otherwise, if we continue to deal with the corruption the same way Buhari has been dealing with it, so poorly and so deceitful, I want to tell you that we are going nowhere, and the train will still be attacked in the near future. I'm not praying, but if necessary measures have not been in place, and these coward bandits have not been dealt with decisively and accordingly, I want to tell you that the worst attack will come in the near future, especially as we move more closer to the election of the 2023 election, and at the same time, when we are unable to manage and review the memorandum of understanding that we have between Nigeria and its neighborhood, especially between the Anglophone and the Francophone states.
All right, thank you so much, Yahuza Getso, security expert, for your thoughts this morning.
Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you, listeners and viewers.
All right, we also promised that subsequently we should be able to get the management of the NRC so they can actually come and tell Nigerians exactly what indeed they intend to do ahead of the planned resumption. That's as much as we can take on this particular segment. We'll be right back after this quick break. Stay with us.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 0005719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
Welcome back to the Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Time for us to look at our second conversation. We'll be focused on the Accountant General of the Federation and his fraudulent activities of 80 billion naira. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested the Accountant General of the Federation, AGF, Ahmed Idris, over 80 billion naira fraud. EFCC spokesman Wilson Wajarin confirmed his arrest in a statement issued on Monday. He said Idris was arrested after failing to honor the Commission's invitation to respond to issues connected to fraudulent act. According to the EFCC, the fraud were laundered via real estate investment in Kano and Abuja. We have Mohammed Abdullahi, a public affairs analyst, joining the conversation this morning to make sense of all of this. Mohammed Abdullahi, thank you so much for being part of the breakfast.
Good morning, Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
It's all right. Let's share your thoughts on this development that we have. 80 billion naira, and the Accountant General involved in all of this. What do you make of this, incident? And do you think it's a plus to the EFCC?
I think to start, first and foremost, we need to give kudos to the EFCC. We all understand what is happening in our country, that things are not really well. I can categorically say in most part of our, almost all the sectors of our economy and even our nation at large, things are not going well. But we must give kudos to the EFCC for what they've been doing thus far. But again, having said that, this latest development actually confirms that if we are to be very honest with ourselves, the anti-corruption drive of this present administration is not something that is really working like they want us to believe. Because if after 7 years of President Muhammad Buhari, with the change and the corruption mantra that brought, anti-corruption mantra, I beg your pardon, that brought this administration to power, and we still have, after 7 years of this administration, we still have this kind of monumental incidences, I would say. It means I don't think the anti-corruption drive of this administration has been well achieved. So it is really unfortunate, even though circumstances at this moment are still very sketchy, because the EFCC just said, they understand that there is about 80 billion fraud, which are laundered in properties and so on and so forth. But I think why they went ahead to arrest the Attorney General of the Federation is, the Accountant General of the Federation is the fact that they mentioned that they've been issuing him a kind of invite. They've been asking him, they've been inviting him to their offices, and he's been dodging, refusing to honor the invitation. That's why they had to arrest him. So at this moment, I would say the circumstances are still, information are still very sketchy about what actually transpired. But be that as it may, let's give kudos to EFCC for a job well done thus far.
All right, Mohammed, let's talk about the system and all the loopholes. Don't you think it actually gives way for these crimes to be perpetrated? For instance, now according to the statement the EFCC issued, it said their intelligence showed that the AGF raked off the funds through bogus consultancies and other illegal activities using proxies, family members, and close associates. Do you think that our systems, our financial systems and approaches, make it easy for such crimes to be perpetrated? We're talking about 80, billion naira.
Yeah, we've had these reoccurrences every now and then, and let me start by saying that the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation was created in 1988, and you can imagine an office that was created in 1988. If you take your phone now or whatsoever device and you Google Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Nigeria, you will find very sketchy information. Very, very scanty, I must say, scanty information. In fact, I was trying to make findings on that particular office. There is no terms of reference available for the public to understand what this kind of important office is all about. Like I tell you, if you make a search about that office, you only find one single page on that website, one single page with the picture of Mr. Idris Ahmed and a little description riddled with grammatical errors, I must confess, saying the Office of the Attorney, this is the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and, hello, are you there?
No, we can hear you, go ahead.
Yes, this is the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and the functions of this office is that this office is actually the administrative head of the Treasury of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that is it. All other links on that website doesn't work. You can't click on anything and they take you anywhere. Just one page, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, be that as it may, like you rightly mentioned, the system is so cumbersome. The system is so ambiguous that, it doesn't give room for accountability, because it baffles the mind that in this time and age, in this jet age, that you have the Accountant General of the Federation saddled with responsibility of about 80 billion to do what? He's not a elected officer. So what does he do? Does he give out contract? Does he sign contract? What does he do? I remember another drama about this same Accountant General last year when he was defending the budget for his office. In fact, he had a loggerhead with Honorable Faleke at the House of Representatives when he presented 36 million for fumigation of the Office of the Accountant General office nationwide. So our system makes it so difficult for us to be accountable, for public service officers to be accountable, and it's so unfortunate at this stage.
But Mohammed Abdullahi, in the course of this conversation, you have said that the fight against corruption in the Buhari administration is nothing to write home about. I mean, it's not real. As a matter of fact, after 7 years, you still have this. Why such statement?
Yes. If you cast your mind back just a month ago or even less, this administration actually approved the recommendation for presidential pardon of about 162 or so convicted inmates, ranging from fraudsters, people who have been convicted for forgery, people who have been convicted for stealing up to hundreds of millions, and notable among these people are people who have been convicted by EFCC for public stealing, like the ex-governor of Plateau State, Joshua Darie, and the former governor of Taraba State, Reverend Johnny Nyami. So why do you set up an institution like the EFCC and the ICPC, which was set up actually by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and then after so much effort, it does not only require effort, it requires time and also the resources of the taxpayers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
then just at the snap of a finger, people who are saddled with the responsibility of, ensuring a corrupt-free Nigeria, starting from the president, will sit down somewhere and say, okay, we can just give these guys presidential pardon. That is really, really unfortunate. In fact, that singular event, that singular pronouncement by the president and his caucus really downplayed the fight against corruption. It really made it look very childish that this is what the president has been riding, this is what the president has been clamoring, that he's coming to fight corruption in Nigeria. And then while EFCC have secured, conviction of some people for forgery and public stealing, then the same president is approving the recommendation of presidential pardon for same convicted criminals. I'm sorry. So it's really unfortunate. And let me add, you see, the late statesman and icon, global icon, Mandela actually mentioned that you don't judge a nation by the way it treats its elite citizen. Rather, you judge a nation by the way they treat their downtrodden. In Nigeria, it's the other way around. How many of petty thieves, I'm not encouraging petty thieves here, please get me right, but how many petty thieves who have gone to the market to steal 1 or 2 products, probably they are hungry, or how many of petty thieves who have stolen probably 10,000, 20,000 naira from wheresoever have been granted presidential pardon? You have people who have stolen billions, impoverished their community, impoverished Nigeria and Nigerians, and they are granted presidential pardon. Definitely, this is not how this is not how to fight corruption.
But just how far do you think this particular investigation would actually go? I hope it will not be swept. Do you think it will just take its full course, or it might just be swept under the carpet?
I don't think it will be swept under the carpet, because what the EFCC have been doing is to some extent a media trial. So when they are about to nail any kingpin, they bring it out here. So, for instance, if you Google about the Accountant General of the Federation, what you find mostly now is the issue about his arrest. So, I am sure the FCC will not want to sweep this kind of story under the carpet. It's too bogus and too big a story to be swept under the carpet. So, I want to give the FCC the benefit of the doubt to say they will go ahead. They will try their very possible best to make sure justice is done.
But do you see the justice system? I mean, because the argument that's been put out now is that the justice system, it's okay to say he's been arrested, he's been found, culpable of taking 80 billion naira. What would happen? Because all of the reactions right now is that the justice system would actually not serve its purpose. So it's possible that he would actually be exonerated in all of this.
It is very possible. Remember that everywhere, all over the world, not only in Nigeria, all over the world, justice is based on evidence and argument. In fact, sometimes even if you have black and you're able to prove to the judge that this is white, you can get away with that offense. So it is very important that the EFCC make sure they have a case, and not only a case, they should ensure that it's a case that is very much presentable, and they have all the available evidences to make sure that if the Accountant General of the Federation is found guilty, that he is served justice accordingly. Remember, the former, if you remember, I think just 2 months ago, or even less, the former group managing director of the NNPC, what's his name? Something Yakubu, I've forgotten his first name. Yeah, was exonerated after more than 2, 3, 4 years of back and forth with the NNPC. He was accused of stockpiling US dollars, foreign currencies in his hometown in Kaduna, but they were unable to nail him due to evidence available. He was able to prove to the court, to the Supreme Court, that these monies were given to him as gift. And the FCC failed to provide such monies at the court to counter his claim. So the court set him free. So it's very important that the NNPC learned their lessons from so many cases that they've gone through over the years. It's not just one case. It's very important that they do their homework very well, so that if they have available evidences to nail the Accountant General of the Federation, the justice and the court will have no option than to serve justice.
Just before we let you go, just what does he tell of this present dispensation's and stance on anti-corruption or anti-graft war? Because before now, there were talks of Ibrahim Magu, and eventually he wasn't arrested. There was talk of the AGF Malami, and buying cars when he's still in office, and no investigation has been done. There's so much, lots of people in this administration, being alleged to have committed one crime or the other.
It's the same issue that I've been discussing earlier on. I told you that rather than convict people, particularly our elite, for their wanton corruption cases, we have actually rewarded them. Yeah, one of the reward is presidential pardon. One, and you just reminded me, just same yesterday, while the story broke out that the Accountant General of the Federation has been arrested for evading EFCC invitation, blah blah blah. Same Ibrahim Magu that was, I want to use the word disgraced out of office, that was suspended, from the same EFCC. That has been pushed aside for so long. We actually don't know, even though he's a police officer, we actually don't know whether he's still in active service or not, was elevated to the position of Assistant Inspector General of Police, same yesterday, despite the clear evidences by the report that were constituted against him, to say he used his office as the chairman of the EFCC to do so many wrongs. But he was virtually rewarded, even though they are talking about him, what's it called, retiring soon from the police force. But how do you reward an officer that served the EFCC as chairman, and you have damning reports against such officer? Even though he's not been convicted by the law court, but there were independent reports about him to say he's done so much wrong. But again, the Nigerian system, like we keep mentioning, has just rewarded him with Assistant Inspector General of Police. That's actually the third highest rank in the cadre of the police institution in Nigeria. So that's what we talk about. You can't say you want to fight corruption and you keep rewarding people who are corrupt. You understand? It doesn't work that way. It's not possible. And it's so unfortunate that we find ourselves in such situation, precarious situation in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Mohammed Abdullahi. We've been looking at the arrest of the nation's Accountant General over 80 billion fraud. We do appreciate your time, Mohammed.
Well, thank you so much for being part of the breakfast. We appreciate your thoughts as always. We wish you the very, very best today as you proceed in the course of your activities. But that's the size of the conversation on the breakfast. We will call it a wrap here and return tomorrow. And if you missed out on any part of it, it's all right to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel with Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Mercy Boko.
And I'm Justin Akadonye. Many thanks for being a part of the show.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa. Good morning, I am Justin Akadonye and this is the news brief on Plus TV Africa. The police have arraigned two suspects, Bilyaminu Aliyu and Aminu Hunchi, before a chief magistrate court in Sokoto over the killing of a student, Deborah Samuel. Deborah was accused of engaging in blasphemy, and for this her colleagues stoned and flogged her to death, after which they set fire to her lifeless body. In the Forced Information Report, prosecuting police officer Inspector Khalil Musa told the court that the suspects were accused of participating in a disturbance act that led to the death of Samuel on the 12th of May, and that an investigation was in progress. The suspect, alongside the victim, were students of Shehu Shagari College of Education in Sokoto. Now, the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) says that it will petition international organizations to call the government to order and to be more serious in dealing with religious violence in Nigeria. The president of the CAN, Samson Ayokunle, while receiving or reacting to the killing of Deborah Samuel, a female student of the Shehu Shagari College of Education, for alleged blasphemy, said that the government has not been able to take decisive action on cases of religious violence, and the entire world needs to hear. Ayokunle said that since this is not the first time this type of thing would be happening, there is a need to appeal to the international communities and the organizations to help Nigeria and Christians. Meanwhile, speaking on a political program, Plus Politics, Reverend Joseph Hype said that Nigerians cannot afford as a nation to be tossed to and fro by religious or different religious beliefs, as they must always go by what is written in the country's constitution, one of which is that no man is permitted to take the life of another, come what may.
Whole lot of argument without clarity, because when you listen to others, they will say there's nowhere in the Quran that says you should kill. But when you listen to others, they will say, no, there's a justification for you to kill, but you are not going to kill, you are going to allow a particular authority to kill. So because of this divided idea, what I believe is that Nigeria is a secular state, and Nigeria must be ruled by the Constitution of Nigeria. There's no place in the Constitution of Nigeria that empowers another person to kill another person. In 2000, why did Christians in northern Nigeria, and specifically in Kaduna, reject Sharia? This is one of the reasons. Because we know that there are excesses about faith, and we just wanted to be sure we are protected. Even with those arguments, where are we now? We've still lost a lot of people. So many of our children, so many of our husbands, so many of our wives have been killed under accusation that they blaspheme the prophet or they desecrated the Quran. What we are simply saying is that if we begin to look at blasphemy and desecration, then this country will never know peace. Because you started by talking about the president's speech. Have you really listened to what the president said? The president said, and I quote, that even Jesus Christ is a prophet. For me, a Christian, calling Jesus Christ a prophet is blasphemy because it's ignorant. Jesus is not a prophet to me as a Christian. So, but you see, we tolerate this thing. We understand this thing. We don't care about who said it. But the moment it comes to the other angle, then our children are being killed, our families are under attack. I think we really need to sit and talk about what makes us Nigeria. Are we Nigerians by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or we are Nigerians by the dictate of a particular religion or a particular section? Unless we honestly discuss this, we'll continue to have this challenge over and over, because it is our daughter today we are crying. Tomorrow it may be another person's daughter from another part of Nigeria, and the cry will go that way, and this will continue.
Until Leah Sharibu is freed from the captivity of terrorists, the call for her release will be heightened. These were the words at the launch of a book in her honor as a heroine of the Christian faith, put together by a cleric, Pastor Rafiu Kute.
Arriving for the event, though a cheery one, but the crux here is very unpalatable. It is a book launch in honor of 19-year-old Leah Sharibu, who has been in Boko Haram's captivity since she was 15. 4 years on, the narration hasn't changed.
Very little has been said about her since she's been in captivity. There have been rumors, something said, but do we know if it's true? We can just say that there are rumors even up till now. You know, there's no verified information on her welfare and well-being, on what exactly is happening to her up till date.
The 218-page book with 7 chapters emphasizes Leah's resoluteness in the face of captivity, a move celebrated more in the Christendom.
Despite the pains of remaining in captivity,
Leah still trusts God. Like many of us, the author observed that this young girl would not consider her life more important than her faith. She treasured her faith more than her own life and brought to bear the famous Queen Esther quote of, "If I perish, the Nigerian government, while counting on the support of other non-state actors, need to intensify its efforts to secure the release of Leah, and in good time too." The author asserts that although the plight of Leah remains the primary focus of this book, the heart of the author, and I think, and I'm sure the heart of everybody in this hall, also go out to every other victim of the heinous crime of kidnapping and terrorism across Nigeria and the world at large.
February 19, 2018, in Dapchi, Yobe State, a dark night where daredevils kidnapped 110 secondary school girls, including Leah, from their hostel. Other girls have long been released, but one.
There is a date for all those who are misleading our youth and who are politicizing issues of religion, issues of ethnicity, and what have you, and using these to divide us as a nation. You see, as our people will say, there is never any smoke without a fire. And anyone who is preaching evil or teaching evil to young people, to children, and breeding wickedness in a nation should be ready for disaster.
As a matter of fact, the way forward are in the book. Maybe you need to read the book, for government to pay more attention to the security officers, their welfare, remuneration, equip them better than they are now. Then, as a matter of fact, social welfare for the people. Because the way it is now in the country, you discover that most of our youths, able bodies, they are idle. And so it becomes very easier for them, for the terrorist group, to engage them and to employ them.
In captivity, she becomes the heroine of faith, as all eyes are on the government of Muhammadu Buhari to fulfill its promises of freeing Leah Sharibu. Loretta Chiogo, Plus TV News.
Now, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has asked the public to disregard the purported adjustment to its timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general elections making the rounds on social media. The party announced last night that its timetable and schedule of activities for the elections remained as earlier published. Should an adjustment become necessary, such changes would be communicated via the party's official communication channels to the public. The Director General of the Yahaya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization, Hasfat Abiola Costello, says that she is standing with Governor Yahaya Bello in the race for the All Progressives Congress presidential ticket because she has seen in him qualities of the kind of leader that Nigeria needs at this point in time. Abiola Costello, daughter of the winner of the 1993 presidential election, late Chief MKO Abiola, said she chose Governor Bello over all other Southwest aspirant because she had seen in him a true commitment to the progress of the country. The DG also reiterated that with the ongoing work in the campaign, she was very sure that her principal would be victorious at the primaries, notwithstanding the political stamina of some others in the race.
Only 19 states in Nigeria have been able to create jobs according to the National Bureau of Statistics, and Kogi State happens to be one of them. So this is a state that is being able to grow its economy, but not the kind of growth that we generally see in Nigeria, where you read about it in the newspapers that the country is growing, but when you look all around you, people are suffering. This is a state that is actually looking for progress by improving the lives of common people. So many have asked, and many are incredibly alarmed that I'm standing before you, a Yoruba girl, a Yoruba woman, representing a candidate from North Central, at a time when some Yoruba believe that it is their turn to be in office.
On the economy, she noted that statistics from the World Bank on state accountability ratings in Nigeria indicate that Kogi ranks top among other states in the country.
In Kogi State, through the leadership of the Governor Yahaya Bello, they're trying to make sure that they balance carefully on the side of security, on the side of harmony. And I think that these kinds of examples and practical approaches is very much required at federal level, but not just at the federal level, but to serve as an example to the whole country, because security is not something that President Buhari can deliver on his own, or even if we have President Yahaya Bello in office in Abuja next year, it would not be able to deliver it on his own. It would need to work through the states. But we believe that the examples he has been able to demonstrate at state level.
While still talking party politics, the Action Democratic Party's governorship candidate in the June 18 governorship election in Ekiti State, Kemi Ililebute Hale, says that the defection of her deputy governor candidate, Idowu Afuye, contravened the Electoral Act. Ililebute Hale, while addressing a press conference in Ado-Ekiti, submitted that her deputy candidate has not informed her of his defection to the All Progressives Congress APC. She stated further that she is not working for any political party nor stepping down for any candidate.
I believe that those who pushed him to that level would have been able to understand Electoral Act. That the moment a candidate is being published on INEC list, you don't quit. I think the political party who might have pushed him and put him under political stress, call it a speculation. Because up to now, my deputy governor had not formally informed me about it. I clearly debunk that I am working for SDP or any political party that I want to sell.
The resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Oyo State, Dr. Muti Agboke, says that it is important for accountants to see themselves as critical change agents in ending corruption and other related sharp practices across all sectors in the country. Speaking with journalists after delivering his paper on accounting and the law implication for practitioners at the inauguration of the new executive of the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, the REC noted that accountants play key roles in the nation's development and economic growth. Therefore, they must refrain from corrupt practices at all times. Now, the state chairman of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria and the member of ANAN, Isa Olude Owolabi, advocates that the dichotomy between accountants in different professional bodies should be eradicated.
They should not aid and abet corruption. Nobody, whether private or public organization, nobody will be able to go scot-free with corruption if an accountant does not have a hand in it. So, as a professional now, they are supposed to be the gatekeeper of their conscience, gatekeeper of the trust. Because, you know, when you're an accountant, you deal with figures, you deal with monies, and if you are not contented with your art, you are likely to be tempted. So, it's a message for them that if there's any window for them to be corrupt, they should avoid it.
You cannot develop without accountants. There's a clear distinction between the role of an accountant and that of an economist. Nigeria as a nation has not taken adequate care of accountants as affects our national life. We know that the concept of accounting revolves around the principles of confidentiality, objectivity, skill and competence, and credibility. Except, of course, and the nation concentrate on this fundamental principle of accounting such a nation cannot develop economically.
As part of measures towards finding a lasting solution to a series of issues bedeviling the transport sector, the Lagos State government has unveiled plans to deploy the use of technology for effective movement. The Commissioner for Transportation, Frederick Oladende, said that this will take the front burner at the maiden edition of a National Transport Technology Conference and exhibition scheduled to hold in June this year. Plus TV correspondent Love Ikuku Oyedoku was there and now reports.
This press conference is heralding the maiden edition of the National Transport Technology Conference and Exhibition, NTTCE, coming up in Lagos. The 2 days conference will see key decision makers, experts and operators in the road, rail, water and air transport sectors discussing current and emerging trends in the sector, as well as fashioning out ways of integrating them into the Nigerian transportation space. Oladende spoke on the importance of a national transportation policy which all state governments key into, with coordination and harmony, could bring about an effective transport system.
What kind of investment do we need? Who are the key players? Who are the people willing to invest? And then what will be government's commitment? So every smart city must have a plan. We're developing a smart Nigeria. We're developing a smart Lagos. You must have a plan to get to that point. And the aim of this conference is to develop that community that would help to develop a plan and then to look at some of the obstacles to see what government's responsibility would be and then what the private sector's responsibility would be.
He believes that the national policy on transportation will bring an end to leakages and corruption in the sector.
We move away from, exchanging cash to ensuring that once you have a card, everything is computerized and that there's no exchange of cash, there's no way you can dupe other people, and then everything will be transparent. Now, the reason why you have 100 Naira ticket and then you're paying 1,000 is because everything is paper ticket, is not electronic. And that's why it's important that we move all our transactions from a cash system to a cashless system.
On her part, the Executive Secretary, National Transport Technology Conference and Exhibition, NTTCE, comprising of all commissioners of transportation in Nigeria, said that technology has been identified by the forum as a roadmap to ensuring safety, security, and revenue generation in the transportation sector.
This event promises to be an all-inclusive one as it seeks to galvanize players within transportation and the technology sector to explore innovative solutions as well as fashion out workable action plans that will integrate transport, integrate smart transportation within the sector for the benefit of Nigerians.
Chinwe disclosed that the resolutions from the conference are expected to usher in an action plan which the federal government could draw policies from to enhance transportation in the country. From Lagos, Love Ikuku Oyedoku, Plus TV News.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has predicted cloudiness and thunderstorms till Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released on Monday in Abuja predicted cloudy condition on Tuesday with sunshine intervals over the northern region in the morning hours. According to it, isolated thunderstorms are expected over part of Adamawa and Taraba State in the afternoon and evening hours. To other parts of Africa now, Mali has announced that security forces have thwarted a counter-coup attempt that it said was supported by an unnamed Western government. The announcement was the latest turmoil to unfold in the West African nation, where Colonel Assimi Goïta led coups in 2020 and 2021 before becoming president. He did not name the country in question. However, relations with former colonizer friend have deteriorated significantly under Goïta's rule. The breakdown in relations prompted the French military to begin a withdrawal of its forces that had spent 9 years fighting Islamic extremists. And outside the continent now, the man who killed a doctor and injured 5 others at the California Taiwanese church shooting at the weekend is a United States citizen born, or was a United citizen, or U.S. citizen born in China who hated Taiwan. He drove from Las Vegas heavily armed for the attack. Now, David Chu chained the doors and placed glue in the locks at Geneva Presbyterian Church in the city of Laguna Woods before opening fire. Up to 40 people were attending a luncheon honoring a former local pastor when the shooting began. Now, Chu's violent assault was motivated by his hatred of Taiwan and recent tension between Taiwan and mainland China.
Dr. Cheng, 52 of Laguna Niguel, took heroic actions that day. In fact, I want to pause and just tell you that Dr. Cheng is a hero in this incident. Based on statements from the witnesses and corroborated by other means, it is known that Dr. Cheng charged the individual, the suspect, attempted to disarm him, which allowed other parishioners to then intercede, taking the suspect into custody. Without the actions of Dr. Cheng, it is no doubt that there will be numerous additional victims in this crime. There's just no place for hate in this country anymore. I can't say it any more general to that, whether it's racially based hate, whether it's religiously based hate, whether it's based on a national origin, sexual preference. There's just no place for hate anymore.
That the suspect lawfully purchased the firearms in Las Vegas, Nevada. Both firearms were commercially made, 9mm caliber, semi-automatic pistols.
We opened a federal hate crimes investigation today to determine further what type of federal charges can be brought. We'll be working very closely with the Orange County District Attorney's Office and the United States Attorney's Office to determine, on top of the state charges that you'll hear about shortly, what federal charges can also be brought.
In entertainment news now, Ukrainian Kalosh Orchestra has released a music video depicting their war-torn homeland after riding the popular votes to victory in the 2022 edition of the Eurovision Song Contest. The new video for their winning song, Stefania, shows soldiers carrying children through burning rubble and group members performing in buildings destroyed since Russia invaded Ukraine more than 80 days ago. Sung in Ukrainian, the song fuses rap with traditional folk music and is a tribute to band frontman Ole Piersk, a mother. Though written for the invasion, the song has taken on a new meaning, the group said in a text accompanying the video on their official YouTube channel. The group said the video was shot in towns including Bucha and Irpin, near Ukraine's capital Kyiv, that have been ravaged by bombardment and fighting during the Russian invasion. In sports news now, in an effort to land Nigeria international Victor Osimhen, English Premier League giant, Manchester United are ready to offer the striker a deal believed to be around 60.6 million naira, a weekly deal. Osimhen has been a subject of multiple transfer reports, having been linked with several top Premier League sides. Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle United and Manchester United are all vying for his signature following his impressive season in Italian Serie A with Napoli. The striker joined Napoli in the summer of 2020 for 80 million euros with odds on and has a contract with Naples-based club until 2025. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Justin Akadonye. Many thanks for watching.
Team building is one sure way of getting people to participate more, because what team building does for you is it helps the people, like your colleagues, understand themselves, and if they understand themselves better, chances are that they can then interact, better with themselves. HR is supposed to be your friend. I don't know how it operates in, most other organizations, but that is really how it's supposed to be. So if ever there's a time you're not certain as to what steps to take, what decisions to make, or you just want to double check, HR is your go-to person. I don't know why they're scared of HR, but HR is not supposed to be about that. So HR is actually supposed to be your friend. Yes, but like the police. You want to get people involved in the process. So you want to help them understand why, they are there. You want to help them understand how their little inputs actually make a difference, a significant difference in the business.
What's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, right? No question. He's a living legend.
God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thought and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation, as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
in raising our kids. Parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa. I am your host, Mikhail Tinubu. It's Tuesday and it's started out as a rainy one at that. Now, we're going to start in Nigeria.